Righto, so sitting on the floor here, with your legs stretched out in front. Point those toes away from you. And look at your ankles and really try to extend that ankle joint. And look at your toes and check that they are the same height off the ground, and then pull those toes towards you. If you get a bit of cramp, just grab your toes and pull them and bend them. And then push those toes away. So my ankle doesn't straighten quite as much on my right foot, so I'm over straightening my arch of my foot, which gives me cramp. So then I pull the toes up. And then I'm going to slide my hands down towards my feet and just soften the knees and put my hands over my toes and just pull those toes towards me. And I'm going to just pull that big toe, the second toe in, and so on, all the way down to the little toe, and really get a stretch in those toe joints. And then let those toes go and push them away. Let the knees come down. And then soften the knees and just shimmy on those seat bones and pull your tummy right onto your thighs. Pull yourself right forwards. Pull yourself right forwards. Hold on to those feet, turn them so they make sure they're both pointing straight up. Pulling the tummy button down. So I've got my my knees slightly bent, and I'm just going to push that right knee down towards the floor and push that left knee down towards the floor. And then I'm going to push both knees down towards the floor so I feel the stretch in the back of those legs. And then release so that we release the tension there. And then push your head towards your feet, the top of your head up towards your feet with your eyes looking at the floor. And really push through those lower back joints, spine joints. Work your mind all the way up through those middle back, through the ribs, through the thoracic area, all the way up to the neck, and then lengthen the neck, pushing the head towards the feet. Take a big breath in, and then on the out breath, push the knees down to the floor. Bring yourself up to vertical, sliding your hands up your legs. Roll those shoulders up towards the ears. Pull those shoulders backwards and pop the hands on the floor behind you. Breathing in, squeeze those elbows together, and then breathing out, push that chest forward and take the chin all the way up to the sky. Breathing in, push that chest forward, stretch through the back, making sure you're really arching, really putting those elbows together as we breathe out. And then pull that chin down into the chest, breathing in. And then breathing out, turn the eyes towards the right side of the right leg and really push that left ear away from the left shoulder. And then swing that head through the center to the left side of the left leg. And really push that right ear away from that right shoulder, pushing that fist into the floor. Lengthening, pushing the chest forward, pushing those seat bones into the ground. Keeping that posture, pulling those elbows together and swing those eyes through the center to the right leg, right hand side of it. Pushing that left ear away from the left shoulder. Really lifting that chest up, squeezing those shoulder blades, swing those eyes through to the left side of the left leg. Pushing that right ear away from the right shoulder. Breathing in, bring those eyes to the center. Bring them up to horizontal, roll those shoulders back and down, push off those fists, push that chest forward, stretch through that tummy, and then release the hands off the floor, keeping on those seat bones so we're nice and vertical. So we're using the hands in this stuff here to push yourself vertical, otherwise getting your chest forward above those seat bones, and then pop the hands on the legs, staying vertical. So we have to use our core, use our rhomboids and our upper back muscles to hold ourselves strong, and then slide those hands down the legs, let that body round forward. So we're arching the back and rounding it. We're doing cat and dog, but sitting, and then slide those hands down towards the feet. Soften the knees, pull yourself right onto the thighs, breathing in, breathing out, pulling yourself forward, and then lifting the head towards the toes, push that right knee into the ground, push that left knee into the ground, push both knees into the ground and really push back in that back so we're arching it up towards the sky, really rounding the head down and forwards, and then release those hands, release the body, come back up to vertical, hold onto the thighs and pull that chest forward. Squeezing those shoulder blades to the back, lifting that breastbone up to the sky, taking that chin all the way up high. Breathing in, fill those lungs right up with air and stretch all those ribs. Breathing out, squeeze those shoulders together. And then slide your feet, slide that left foot up towards your pubic bone, slide that right foot up towards the pubic bone. Bringing those feet up towards the pubic bone, holding onto the arch, holding onto the ankles. Lifting that chest up, breathing in. Pulling those shoulder blades back, slide that right foot in a bit more, slide that left foot, try to stay up on that middle bottom on those seat bones. Breathing in, breathing out, push those knees down to the floor. So just wiggle to make sure that you've got yourself central, and then using those elbows, push on those thighs, holding onto the feet or the ankles. If you can get your elbows on your knees, if your knees are too low, just push those knees down towards the floor. Breathing in on the out breath, pull that chest forward, pulling into those feet. Breathing in and breathing out, pushing those knees down towards the ground. Now lean forward rather than round forward, and pop the elbows on the thighs, holding them wide there. Now push those thighs up into the elbows. So you're holding your legs down, you're doing a static contraction into your arms, pushing those elbows up, reaching the top of the head away from the tailbone. Breathing in, breathing out, release the push of the legs and let the elbows lean harder on them and open the thighs up more. Try to stay forward onto that front bottom. I'm aware that I'm rounding a bit. Try to stay as straight as you can. Push those knees up into the elbows, breathing in. Push the top of the head away from the tailbone. Bring that tummy button towards those heels, breathing out, pushing those legs into the arms. And then release the push and let those legs go further down to the floor. Rock to the right, rock to the left. Rock right, rock left. Rock right, rock left. And then release the rock and come to sitting on your middle bottom. Holding onto those ankles, lifting that chest up, coming nice and tall. Lengthen the right leg out, lengthen the left leg out. Putting those legs in front, reaching all the way down towards those feet again, keeping the knees down towards the floor if you can. And then sitting yourself back up to vertical. Put the left hand on the right knee, right hand behind. Now you're pushing off that right hand to hold the body vertical. Holding the body nice and tall, turning around to the right, looking over that right shoulder, using this left arm to push against that right leg, using this right arm to keep yourself nice and tall. So you're not leaning back on that right arm, you're pushing off it to hold yourself vertical, turning around, getting a stretch all the way through the spine, trying to turn the tummy button all the way around, and then the ribs follow. And then release that body back to the front. Put the right arm on the left leg, left behind. So push off that left hand. Lift that chest up to the sky, turning that tummy button, using that left leg and that right hand to turn you, lifting that breastbone up high, turning the head, looking over that left shoulder, breathing in, breathing out, and release back round to the front. Bring those arms up to horizontal, breathing in. On the out breath, lower yourself back to the floor. So we're bending at the waist, pushing the back of the pelvis on the floor first. Getting the back of the pelvis down, curling that back, one vertebra at a time, all the way down to the floor. Resting the head down, taking those arms all the way over your head, breathing in. Fill those lungs up with air, let those ribs lift, breathing out. Push those hands away over your head, reaching and stretching the tips of your fingers away from your toes. Let your back lift up off the floor if it wants as you reach, and then push that right hand away, really push on that right hand from the right foot, and then relax that side, and then push the left hand away from the left foot. Really reach and stretch that, and then bring both hands all the way up to the sky, hold them there. Slide that right foot foot into the bum, slide the left foot into the bum. Bring the right knee up to the right hand, bring the left knee up to the left hand. Curl that back by pulling those knees into the chest and bring the nose up between your knees and crunch yourself up small. That's it, crunching yourself up small. And then release and open, and then crunch up small again. And then release and open, and then crunch up small again. And then release and open, and take those arms out like a scarecrow. Take them out like a scarecrow. Drop those knees over to the right hand side. Drop those knees down to the right. Keeping those shoulders on the floor, keeping the eyes straight up at the sky. Turn the palms up so the backs of your shoulders are really pushed down to the floor. Really pull that left knee down on top of the right knee, turning the tummy button towards the right hand. And then release those legs up to the sky. Pivot your back if you need and drop those knees all the way over to the left. Keep those palms up, pushing those fingertips away from each other. Pushing that right knee down on top of the left one, turning the tummy button towards that left hand, breathing in. Breathing out, pushing those arms away from each other. Bring those legs back up, turning that body, dropping the knees to the right again. All the way down to the floor, pushing those hands away, pulling those knees down, breathing in. Breathing out. So your breathing should be about 4 counts. So as you lift your legs up, you breathe in. As you let them go over, you can breathe out. So lifting those legs up to the middle. And then rolling that body and dropping them over onto the left hand side. Sorry, pushing those arms away. Really pushing the tummy button towards that left hand. And then bring those legs back up to the top. Bring those hands straight up to the sky. Lower those, lengthen those legs out. Left leg out first, right leg out. Roll those shoulders up to the ears into the floor, slide them down. Flatten the ribs on the floor, flatten the lower back. And then bring your hands down onto your pelvis and let's just establish a neutral spine. So feel your pubic bone, feel the bony prominences down the outside edge of your pelvis. Flatten that back into the floor and feel the pubic bone come to the sky. And then turn the tailbone down to the ground and let your waist lift up off the floor. Bring that tailbone away from the floor and flatten your waist onto the floor. Now find that middle position with your fingers on your pubic bone and on the bony prominences down the outside of your pelvis. I want them parallel, horizontal to the floor. If you had a spirit level from the pubic bone out to each side, it would be level with the floor. So there's a small lift in the lower back, bottom ribs are on the ground, rolling those middle ribs, pushing those upper ribs down, flattening those shoulder blades and sliding them down towards your waist. That's your neutral spine position. That might not feel that easy to get into right now, but it will by the end of the session. Bring those arms up to the sky, breathing in. Chin into the chest, push those fingers to the toes, roll yourself all the way up to sitting. Hands on the legs and roll and reach all the way down to the feet, softening those knees. Breathing in, pull your tummy onto your thighs, push your head towards your toes, breathing out, push that right knee down, push that left knee down, push both knees down, and then sit yourself up vertical. Grab your roller, grab your foam roller. So come forwards a bit on the mat so your knees are bent, feet are towards the bottom of the mat. So now you'll let the roller across behind you. And we're going to just lean back so you rest the bottom ribs on the roller, resting the bottom ribs. So trying not to go into that lower back area, we're staying on the thoracic. So take your head in your hands, big breath in. Breathing out, push that chest to the sky, let that head drop back to the floor and open that thoracic spine. Breathing in at the bottom. Breathing out, bring that chin all the way back up into the chest and open. Elbows on the roller and move it a few centimeters up your spine. Taking the head in the hands again, breathing in. Breathing out, push the breastbone to the sky, let that head fall backwards, breathing all the way out. emptying those lungs, and the spine will release. Bring that chin into the chest, lift yourself back up, and either roll yourself down the roller or lift and move. Breathing in at the top here. Breathing out. Push the breastbone to the side. Let the head come back down to the floor, breathing in at the bottom. And then breathing out as you bring yourself back up. Move the roller up a little bit further. Breathing in. Breathing out. Open all the way over the roller. Let that head come back on the ground. Breathing in. So my head is just touching the floor. The back of it is resting on the roller. And I'm just going to put my hands either side of my chin and just give myself a bit of a stretch through that neck. Just lengthen. And then release. And let the head ever so gently just rock from one side at the back to the other. If there's any aggravation in your neck, then don't do this. Take the head in the hands and lift it back up so it's just off the floor. And then lifting the bum up, pushing those feet, roll that roller down towards the bottom ribs. Don't go into the lumbar spine, just stay on the ribs. And then roll that roller back up towards the top of the ribs. And then roll it back down. So trying to keep that back in an arched position. So we're mobilizing the spine as opposed to massaging the muscle. Obviously the muscle is getting massaged. And then roll it back up. If your roller's too lumpy, Louise, you might want to put a towel on it just to soften it. And then roll all the way down. And then leaning onto that left side, just on the left side of the rib. So just lift that right side up a little bit. Going all the way down. And all the way back up. And going onto the back again. And then going onto that right side. All the way down. All the way back up. And then back into the middle. And then rest at that rib, the brow strap area. Let that head come down onto the floor. Pop those fingertips above the head on the ground and just lengthen those arms away. Breathing in, push those fingers on the ground. Breathing out, lengthen that left leg out straight. Lengthen that right leg out straight. Breathing in. Fill those ribs up with air, breathing out, push the tailbone into the floor, draw the tummy in so you're putting the lower back towards the ground and the roller so you're protecting it. And really stretch through the bottom of the ribs, through the abdominal area, through those ribs, through that chest, through those armpits. And then slide those fingers back in and slide those feet back in. Take the head in the hands, lift it up. Roll that roller down to the bottom ribs. Roll that roller up towards the shoulders, bringing that head slowly up, rolling that roller up towards roller down towards the waist, lifting that head up, and then we're going to sit the bum on the floor and we're going to lift ourselves up off that roller. So just come up gently, you might feel a little bit lightheaded, having the head down lower. Hold those hands behind the thighs, breathing in. Pull that chest forward, pulling those shoulder blades back, breathing out. Pull that chin all the way down into the chest. My knees are bent. My shoulders are back and down. Turning the head to the right leg, pushing the left shoulder away from the left ear. Turning to the left leg, pulling the right shoulder away from the right ear. Coming back to center. Rolling those shoulders up to the ears, down and back. Pull your roller away and slide it under your knees. Slide that roller under the knees. So we're going to have a loosen up of the sacroiliac joint. So roll those shoulders up to the ears, down and back. You're going to roll yourself, lay yourself down to flat, so collapsing that pelvis and then rolling one vertebra at a time. Pull the roller up towards the bottom and bring those feet in so they're right under the knees. So just hold the roller here for a second. Resting the fingertips on the roller, rolling the shoulders up to the ears, down and back. Pushing those shoulders into the ground, pushing the top rib, middle rib, bottom rib in the ground. Slight lift off that lower back. pushing the tailbone away from the top of the head, finding that neutral spine, breathing in. Breathing out, flatten that back in the floor, push through those heels, lifting the pubic bone to the sky, coming up into the bridge. All the way up into your shoulders. Adjust your shoulders, clenching with the bum, leading with the pubic bone, breathing in at the top. Breathing out, lower that back, one vertebra at a time, all the way down to the ground, keeping the top ribs, middle ribs, bottom ribs down. Rolling the pelvis to arch the back at the bottom. And then breathing in, flatten that back into the floor, pushing through those heels, balls of the feet are off the ground, leading with the pubic bone all the way up to the sky. Make sure your knees are parallel with your hips and they haven't fallen outwards. Make sure your toes are pointing forwards. In the middle of your feet is parallel, haven't got the feet turned out. Put those hands on the hips and just check they're the same height. Lengthen the head away from the shoulders. Push those shoulders down towards the waist and then breathing in. Breathing out, lower that back one vertebra at a time, keeping those shoulders down on the ground, lengthening the neck, arching the back at the bottom. Breathing in at the bottom and then breathing out, moving, leading with that pubic bone all the way up to the sky. Take those arms all the way up and over the head. Rest those arms on the floor above the head, breathing in. On the out breath, lower that back all the way down to the floor, keeping those shoulders down, making sure that you touch down one vertebra after the other, there's not a gap, and then arch the back at the bottom. Breathing in, bring those arms back down by your side. Breathing out, push through the heels, lift that pubic bone up, come all the way up into the bridge. Bring those arms all the way over the head. Reach those fingers from the toes. Stretch those hands up and stretch those shoulders. Now pull those shoulder blades down to the waist, leaving the arms straight on the floor. Keeping the bum up high, pushing through the glutes. And then lowering that back one vertebra at a time, all the way back down to the ground. Arching the back at the bottom and bringing those arms all the way back down by the side. Rest your fingers on the roller. Breathing in on the out breath, push through the heels and come up into the bridge. And then bring that roller in. And lower your body down so that the pelvis rests on the roller between the tailbone and the top of your pelvis. Now draw the core in, so you pull your waistband down to the floor, keeping those shoulders back and down, don't let them round up, lengthening your neck. Breathing in, pop your hands on the outside edge of the pelvis. Drop that left knee down out to the side. Feel the body rock onto that left side and the right side comes off the roller. Keep the core strong. And then bring that knee back in and you'll feel the glide of that sacroiliac. Drop that left knee out. You'll feel that the pelvis changes orientation. Bring that knee back in. Drop that knee out. Bring that knee back in. Drop that knee out. Hold it there. Now just push on that pelvis into the roller and release. A 20% effort push. Push on the roller and release. Push on the roller. So we're just getting a bit of glide in that SI joint, release. Push on the roller, release, bring that knee back up to center, and then drop that left knee out and push at the same time. Bring that left knee back up. Drop that left knee out, push into the roller, and bring that left knee back up. Okay, we're going to do the right side. Drop that right leg out wide. Feel the left side lifts up. Bring that right knee back in. Make sure you're keeping your spine in neutral, lengthening that head and neck. Drop that right knee out, pulling those shoulders down towards the waist. Bring that knee back up. Drop that right knee out, hold it there. Now push on that right side into the roller and release. Pushing and release. Pushing, release. Pushing, don't hunch the shoulders up, release. Push. Release, bring that right knee up to center. Drop that right knee out to the side, push that right side into the roller, release and come back up. Drop that right side out, push into the roller, release and come back up. Hold on to the roller. Bring that right knee up over the body. Bring the left knee up over the body. Let those knees fall down towards the chest. Let those feet go out towards the head. Push off the roller and just make it stable. And then lengthen those legs, pushing those knees up high. Push off the roller and bring it up to higher up your back. So we're coming in a cloud position for yoga, but we're using the roller to get us there. Breathing in, lift up and let that back, let the roller come up a bit higher under your back. Point those toes. Push those knees to the sky, flex those feet. Point those toes, flex those feet. Drop the knees down towards the face. Lift up higher with that body, that's back on the roller so that we've got it down towards our bra strap area. Push those knees up to the sky, point those toes, flex those feet. Point those toes. Flex those feet, take those legs apart, keeping those feet flexed. Push those heels away from the tailbone. Bring those feet back together. Point those toes. Bend the knees. Slide that roller down towards the hips. Keep those knees bent. Feet are above the bum now. Sliding that roller down towards the hip. Sliding that roller all the way out, gently coming back to flat on our back. Move the roller out of the way. Breathing in, and on the out breath, one at a time, take those feet down to the ground. Rest them on the floor, roll those shoulders up to the ears, down and back. Turn the palms up. Breathing in, lengthen that right leg out straight. Lengthen that left leg out straight. Breathing in. Push off those elbows. And lift that chest up to the sky, coming up onto the back, just on the back of your head. Breathing in. Push those elbows into the floor, push the breastbone up high. Really lengthening the chin away from the pubic bone, pushing the tummy button into the sky, pushing the breastbone up. And then release that back down to the floor. Bring the left knee into the body, bring the right knee in, huggle up and bring the nose to the knees, lifting. And then release, put those feet to the floor one at a time, lengthen those legs out straight, pop those fingers under the bum, breathing in. On the out breath, push off those elbows and come up onto the top of the head in the fish pose. Pushing the toes away from the nose, breathing in. Stretching that chest up high, filling those lungs up with air and spreading the ribs. Breathing out, push that breastbone high, slide those shoulder blades back together behind your back. Breathing in. Fill those lungs up with air, pushing off the elbows, pushing the tailbone in the floor, being careful not to put too much weight on your head, the weight's on the elbows. And then breathing out, squeezing those shoulder blades together, and then release that back all the way down to the floor. Bring that right knee in, bring that left knee in, bring the nose to the knees. Snuggle up. Take those hands away from the legs, pushing them past the bum. Holding yourself here. Breathing in, take those hands up to the sky, lower that back and the head down to the floor, bring those arms onto the floor over your head, palms up. Pulling those shoulder blades into the ground, holding the ribs in the ground, take the tailbone down to the ground and let that lower back slightly lift, creating that neutral spine. Now drawing that core like you're pulling your tummy towards your spine and your spine towards your tummy, keeping the torso in that position. Open that hip on the right side and lower that right toe to the ground. Lower that left toe to the ground. Have them hovering off the ground. Feel the core engage. Lengthen that right leg out straight. Lengthen that left leg out straight. So we're really light on the floor. Bring that right leg back in. Bring that left leg back in. Bring that right leg up. Bring that left leg up, take those fingers to the sky, chin into the chest and snuggle all the way back up again. Hold on to the soles of your feet, pull yourself in tight, breathing in. On the out breath, release the feet, pushing the hands past the body. Bring those arms up to the sky, open that chest. Take the head down to the floor, hands down to the floor. And then open your left hip, taking the heel to the ground. Open your right hip, taking the heel to the ground, keeping the ankles flexed. Slide that left leg out straight with the toes to the sky. Slide that right leg out straight with the toes to the sky. Slide that left leg back in, very light on the ground. Slide the right leg back in. Lift those legs up off the floor. Keeping neutral spine, so the ribs are down, lower back slightly lifted. Fingers to the sky, chin into the chest. Roll yourself all the way up. Grab the soles of your feet and snuggle yourself in tight. Breathing in. Breathing out. Open your upper body down to the floor. Release those feet, opening the hip at the same time. Heels on the ground. Slide those feet together away, pushing the fingers away, but securing those shoulder blades to the ground. So my heels are light on the floor, hands are light on the floor, feeling my tummy stretch. And stay engaged. Bring those feet back in, bring those hands to the sky, chin into the chest, and roll yourself all the way up together. Hold yourself in. And then releasing, opening all the way into neutral spine, pushing those fingers away, pushing those toes away, nice and long. Big breath in, breathe out, release the body onto the floor and relax. Breathing in on the out breath, hands to the sky, bring that right knee in towards your body, pulling that right knee up towards the armpit, taking hold of it with the hands, pulling it in close. Bring that right leg all the way over your body, pushing that right hand away, turning the eyes to the right, putting the right knee to the floor, pushing that right hand away from the knee, following the hand with the shoulder, pushing the shoulder towards the hand. Pushing the right hip towards the right knee, so we're stretching through the back. Turning the eyes to the right hand, pushing that right ear to the ground. Pushing the left leg away from the top of the head, breathing in. Breathing out, lengthen, left leg, right knee, right arm. And then release, rolling back on the back. Take hold of that right knee, pull it up into the armpit again. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then bring that left knee in. And let those knees drop apart. Putting those shoulder blades back and down. Neutral spine, top rib, middle rib, bottom ribs are on the ground. Lift that lower back ever so slightly. Pulling those knees apart, holding them apart. Trying to close them together, but resisting with the hands. Engaging those inner thigh muscles. Breathing in. Breathing out, release the muscle tension in the legs and let those legs hang further apart. Straighten that right leg out, put that hand on the inner thigh, straighten the left leg out. Point those toes, flex those feet. Circles with those feet. Circles the other way with those feet. Bend those knees, bring those legs back together. Let that right leg go out straight, keep the left leg in, pull that left knee up to the armpit, pushing that tailbone down to the floor, breathing in. Breathing out, pull that left leg all the way over the body, turning the eyes left, pushing that left hand away, pushing that left knee to the floor, letting the left hip lift up, letting the left shoulder follow that left hand, eyes are looking left, left ear is coming to the ground, pushing that right foot away from the top of the head. Breathing in. Breathing out, lengthening everything, stretching, turning those ribs, turning the tummy button to the sky. And then release that left leg and pull it in towards the armpit, rolling back onto your back. Breathing in. And breathing out, lengthen that leg away, take those arms all the way over the head. Big breath in, reaching those fingers away from the toes. Bring those hands all the way up to the sky, chin into the chest, and roll yourself all the way up to reaching those feet. Reaching those feet, breathing in, breathing out. Sit yourself up nice and tall, and swing your legs round and come up onto all fours. So on all fours, hands are onto the shoulders. So I've got a bit of a sore wrist. I'm going to stay on my knuckles. But if you want to go on your palms of your hands, Make sure the middle fingers are spread and the middle fingers parallel. Roll those shoulders up to the ears, pull them back and down, lengthen the head away from the tailbone. Those knees under the hips, pulling those knees away from each other, but keeping them still on the floor. So engaging the bum, making sure the feet are level with the knees. Everything's in alignment, hip distance apart. Turn the tailbone down to the floor, let the back lift up, bring the eyes to the knees. Turn the tailbone up to the sky, let the belly fall to the floor, bring those eyes up high. Breathing in. Breathing out, turn that tailbone down to the floor, lifting that back up, bringing the eyes down. Breathing in. Turn that tailbone up to the sky, letting the belly fall down, bring those eyes up. Turn the tailbone so the pelvis comes into neutral, lengthen the head away from the neck, and then glide that body backwards over those heels. And then bring that body back up onto all fours, using those glutes, pulling the knees apart on the mat. Keep those shoulders back and down. Glide that body back, keeping neutral spine so it's not child pose, we're just closing that hip down. And then coming back up onto all fours. Turn those toes over so the soles of the toes are on the ground. Breathing in, lift the knees up and come into down dog. Balls of the feet are a few centimeters apart. My knees are bent to start with. Bring the tummy button down towards the thighs. Armpits towards the toes, and then push that, staying in that neutral spine, pushing the head away from the tailbone, then push that right heel down and back, then push that left heel down and the knee back, then push that right knee, then the left knee, gradually getting those legs straighter and straighter. Right leg, left leg, then both legs, spread those toes. Lift that left leg up off the ground, bend that left knee, lift the knee up high, drop the foot down behind, stretch through those psoas muscles in that hip area, and then let that leg swing down and bring it through between your hands. Stretch that back leg back, pushing the heel away, keeping the knee off the ground, pull that front leg outward so you let your belly drop between that thigh. Breathing in, stretching, lower that knee to the ground. And lift that body up, away from the hands, away from the floor. Pulling the pubic bone forward, keeping it in alignment with the spine. Bring that right arm up into the sky. Keep the toes turned towards the floor. Pushing that right hand up high, pushing that right knee into the floor. And then release that hand, bring it down. One hand either side of the foot in front, glide backwards, and let that left leg straighten. Point the toe, flex the foot. Point the toe, flex the foot. Pop the sole of that foot on the floor. Glide the body forwards again. Turn the back toe over. Lift the back knee off the floor and step forward so both feet are together. Let that head hang down. Let that head hang down. Clench the bum, pull those knees apart. Feet are parallel, and roll yourself all the way up into standing. Bring those arms out wide, hands up over the head, breathing in. Push those hands up to the sky, breathing out. Release those hands wide, chin into the chest, and roll them all the way back down again. Step that left foot backwards, lengthening. Pull that right knee out so your belly can fall in between on the inside of that leg. Pushing through that heel, drop that back knee to the floor. Breathing in. Breathing out. Push off that foot, come up onto the foot and the knee. Draw that core, that pubic bone forward. Feel the stretch through the front of the back leg. Bring that left hand up into the sky, breathing in. On the out breath, push that left hand up high. Stretching through that hip, stretching through that side. And then release that hand, put one hand either side of the front leg and slide the body backwards, stretching through this right hamstring. Point those toes. Flex those feet. Point those toes, put the sole of the foot on the floor, glide the body forwards. Take the weight on the hands, lift that back knee up off the ground, coming into the lunge, and slide this right foot back so it's next to that left foot. Lengthening the head away from the toes. Breathing in, breathing out. Drop those knees to the floor. Go back into child pose. Let those toenails come down to the ground. Stretching through those armpits. Breathing in, breathing out. Come back onto all fours. Swing those hips forward and drop them all the way down to the ground so you come on your belly. Forehead on the ground. Hands are like a pitchfork position, fingertips near the top of the head, elbows by the chest. Breathing in. Breathing out, clench the bum, push the pubic bone in the ground. Lengthen those legs so the knees and feet are off the ground. Roll those shoulders up to the ears, back and down. Draw in the core and lift your tummy away from the floor. So you're resting on the pubic bone, bottom ribs, and your forehead. Breathing in, lift the hands and forearms off the floor, keeping the elbows down and lower. Hands and forearms up off the ground and lower. Hands and forearms up off the ground, hold them there. Now lift the whole arm up into the sky, lengthening those legs away, tap the elbow to the floor. Lift those arms up high. Tap the elbow to the floor. Lift those arms up high, keeping the hand above the elbow. Clenching the bum, legs are off the ground. Tummy's off the ground, resting on the bottom ribs. Forehead's on the ground, pulse those arms up higher for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring those hands next to the bottom ribs, elbows in the sky, breathing in. On the out breath, lift that chest up off the floor. In that cobra position, keeping the bottom ribs on the ground, squeeze those shoulder blades together, breathing in. On the out breath, push off those hands and come onto the pubic bone. Legs go down onto the ground, shoulders back and down. Breathing in. Straighten those elbows and come onto the knees. Breathing in. Tighten the thighs and lift those knees off the ground, pushing the toes away from the top of the head. Drop the knees to the floor, thumb in the air and go back into child pose. Really stretching through that body. Breathing in. Breathing out. Come up onto all fours. Turning the toes so the soles of your feet are on the ground. Push the bum in the air, up into down dog. Armpits down towards the toes, tummy button towards the thighs. Push that right knee back and straighten. Push the left knee back and straighten. Bring that right leg up into the sky. Bend the knee, drop the foot behind you. Let the stretch through that psoas, stretch through that hip. And then swing this right foot forward into the pigeon. Right foot to the left hand, right knee to the right hand. Turn the back toes over, breathing in, and slide your hands forward as you breathe out. Breathing in this position, and breathing out. Trying to keep that shin bone across the mat, trying to keep the pelvis parallel, each side the same height off the floor. Walk those hands either side of that front leg. Lift that body up off the ground. Keeping that pelvis, trying to get that pelvis vertical, not keeping it, we haven't got it there yet. Roll those shoulders up to the ears, back and down. Push those knees into the ground and take the arms off the floor and push those hands away behind you. Breathing in. Breathing out, push the fingers to the toes. Release the hands in front. And lower yourself all the way back down to the floor. Breathing in, breathing out. Walk those hands back towards that front leg. Roll those shoulders up to the ears, back and down, lifting that body up off the floor. Turn the back toe over, lifting that back knee off the floor. Push that bum up into the air and come back into the down dog. Soften the knees, tummy button to the thighs, armpit towards the toes. Push that right knee back and straighten. Push that left knee back and straighten. Push that tailbone to the sky. Reach and stretch. Take that left foot off the floor, bringing it up high behind, swing it forward towards that right hand. Lengthen the back leg backwards, dropping that left knee towards the left hand. Lower that body down over the leg. Breathing in, breathing out. Lower that body down onto the floor. Stretch those hands in front. Rest the forehead on the ground if you can. Breathing in, breathing out. Bring those hands back either side of this front leg. Lift that body up off the floor, trying to get that pelvis as vertical as possible. Breathing in. Roll those shoulders up to the ears, back and down. Push those knees into the floor. Take the hands off the floor and push them down towards that back leg. Breathing in. Breathing out. Release the hands. Lower them onto the floor in front. And lay yourself over your leg. Breathing in. Breathing out. And release the muscles in the glutes. Walk your hands back towards this front knee. One hand either side of that knee. Turn the back toe over. Roll the shoulders up to the ears, back and down. Lengthen the head from the tailbone. Lift the knee off the floor and then bring yourself back into that plank position. Breathing in, breathing out. Drop those knees to the floor. Back into child pose. Stretching those arms forward. Stretching through that back, pulling the armpits down to the floor. Walk the hands to the left and let the bum drop right. Stretch through that right side. Walk those hands to the right. Drop the bum left. Breathing in. Breathing out. Stretch through that left side. Bring those hands back to center. Pulling the knees apart on the mat without actually moving them, engage the glutes and come back up onto all fours. Walk those knees forwards on the mat. Sit yourself down and lengthen those legs in front of you. Breathing in, roll those shoulders up to the ears, back and down, hold behind the thighs. Lift that chest up to the sky, knees are soft. Pushing the head away from the tailbone, sitting in neutral spine on the middle bottom on those seat bones. Push that right leg down to the floor, push the left leg. Bring those arms up in front of you, all the way up into the sky. Big breath in. Release those arms out wide, dust the floor, bring them all the way back up above you, breathing in. Breathing out, push those arms up high, push the tailbone into the floor. Filling those lungs up with air, breathing out, release those arms, rest them on your legs and roll your shoulders. Well done. Excellent.